Hello and welcome back to Instant Insights. At GlobalData Strategic Intelligence, we track over 100 tech, industry, ESG, and macro themes impacting all major sectors. I'm Pinto, and today I'm joined by Bill Rinna, Vice President of Americas Automotive at GlobalData. Bill, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Today, I brought you to the podcast because I wanted to discuss. You're going to be part of GlobalData's Global Automotive Outlook conference in October in Detroit, Michigan. And I kind of just wanted to bring you on board to get your thoughts and the main key points that are going to be discussed in the conference. So I think my first question, since the conference is quite broad, would be, could you please walk me through the key trends arising in the demand and production of light vehicle powertrains?
Yeah, that's certainly a hot topic, today, given the changing landscape, especially as it pertains to battery electric vehicles. But, what we're seeing is essentially, reduced incentives in the U.S. and overall demand lagging in many markets. Except for China, are causing automakers to kind of adjust their powertrain strategies and reallocating investments back into internal combustion engine development from battery electric vehicles. So not only in the U.S. but also globally, we're starting to see extensions of ICE or internal combustion engine platforms and programs that were previously scheduled to be ending. And we're also seeing a fundamental shift in the platforms to be more flexible. By flexibility, I mean platforms that are able to accommodate not only internal combustion engine vehicles, but also battery electric vehicles, and also more critically, you're kind of in between with plug-in hybrid vehicles, full hybrid vehicles that kind of meets the demand of what consumers are looking for. One other development is that European OEMs are looking to learn from Chinese companies about more efficient production of new energy vehicles or NEVs to help reduce total battery electric vehicle production costs, and that's resulting in increased collaboration between European OEMs and Chinese OEMs. But there's also concerns about China's control over critical battery materials and rare earth elements that are creating some tension. But it seems like both sides are motivated to avoid trade war with that. But Western OEMs, are expected to develop non-Chinese sources of these materials over time, but we don't expect that to take over for over a decade, possibly.
I think that covers the market pretty well, but you mentioned EVs, and I don't know much about the industry, but I know that there's been several hiccups in the last few years in terms of EV adoption, from Tesla's revenues dropping to American OEMs slowing down EV production. You mentioned the ICE part of the market, but what can we expect from the EV market going into 2026?
Yeah, as I mentioned, it's, EV demand, has been lagging in the U.S. and in many other markets, has been propped up somewhat by, government incentives to help, spur demand. Like right now, the U.S. BEV market is currently seeing a surge in demand as consumers are looking to take advantage of, tax credits that are actually expiring at the end of September due to the new Trump administration policy to end those types of incentives. We do see in the U.S. expect a kind of a slowdown after that period with BEV demand, and we expect that to somewhat continue into next year. But what's happening is automakers have already planned a number of new battery electric vehicle models coming into the market. So we do see a increase in BEV sales just because the sheer number of new models coming into the market. But unfortunately for those automakers, they will see a lower volume demand per model. If we look at Europe, BEV demand has been, positive, for the first half of the year, increasing around 31%. And that's mainly driven by new EU CO2 targets and manufacturers offering more affordable models. However, the public charging infrastructure is not growing fast enough to meet EU targets, but we still expect overall BEV growth in Europe to increase by over 25% in 2026. Now, looking in China, the new energy vehicle market is thriving. It has grown nearly 50% in the first half of this year, and we expect continued strong growth into next year as it's supported by reduced sales tax and favorable treatment under Chinese car scrappage schemes and other various local benefits, such as preferred treatment in the mega city car license plate lotteries.
You alluded to changing Trump policy, so I think we can't really leave here without addressing the macroeconomic environment at the moment. The auto industry was hit by a series of tariffs by the Trump administration earlier this year. And although lots of auto parts certified under the USMCA trade agreement were exempt from the tariffs, the trade agreement renegotiations are expected to start very soon, either at the end of this year or certainly nothing will be agreed until the start of next year. What impacts have the tariffs had on the auto industry?
Yeah, they've certainly caused a lot of headaches for, automakers, suppliers, and any industry stakeholders. So yeah, I mean, although the U.S. administration's tariff policy has become, more positive for the auto industry since they were first levied back in April with the recent developments with trade agreements with the U.S. and EU, Japan, and Korea, and the recent extension of the negotiation period with China, but they're still higher than where they were before and causing some downward pressure, obviously, on demand. Somewhat of a surge in demand in the U.S. Some of that was pull ahead of sales due to the kind of the tariff threat. But overall, manufacturers here in the U.S. have been adjusting incentives and having incentive schemes to help spur overall sales. So that's kind of helped U.S. sales increase around 5% through July. But if we look at production, that's been down over the same period. So it has been putting some pressure on U.S. inventory. But overall, the tariffs have and are expected to impact overall demand because of higher vehicle pricing and obviously the manufacturing footprint as well, because manufacturers now are incentivized to produce more in the U.S. and we're starting to see manufacturers here in North America shifting production from Mexico, from Canada, and from other countries outside the U.S. back into the U.S. to help alleviate some of the cost of the tariffs and appease the Trump administration by producing locally.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. At least that was the intention of the tariffs in the first place. Well, thank you so much, Bill, for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem. And for any of our audience who would like to attend our conference in Detroit in October, it will be October 21st. There will be a link in the description where you can sign up for the conference. Other than that, thank you for those instant insights. Thank you for listening. And from us at Strategic Intelligence, see you next time.